Welcome to P's Stories. Today, I have an incredibly fresh story, something that happened to the narrator's friend Guy and her companions just last week in a beautiful yet eerily silent national park in Canada. Imagine the serene beauty of Jasper National Park, a vast expanse of towering mountains, including the majestic Rocky Mountains and lush forests. This past summer, Guy and her friends, looking for adventure and a scenic escape, planned a trip there. They flew from Toronto, a 4-hour journey, then rented a car to explore the stunning landscapes. To keep costs down and enjoy communal activities like cooking and simply hanging out, they opted for an Airbnb cabin. Their first 3 nights in Canmore were uneventful, filled with laughter and exploration. But the next 2 nights, planned for Jasper, were a different story. The drive alone was about 4 hours, sometimes 5 or 6 with scenic stops. It was summer, so the sun didn't set until around 9 p.m., meaning they arrived at their secluded cabin around 7 p.m., still bathed in the late evening light. Before the trip, they had actually joked about encountering supernatural phenomena. None of them had ever experienced anything like it before, and their previous trip to Yellowknife to see the northern lights was completely normal. They playfully dismissed the idea, saying, "We probably won't encounter anything." Oh, how wrong they were. The strange incidents began almost immediately, but the truly eerie part is that they only confessed their individual experiences to each other on the drive back to the airport. This explains why they didn't investigate much at the time. Fear and the sheer disbelief of what was happening kept them silent.
Now, let me paint a picture of this cabin. It was a massive 3-story log cabin, nestled deep within the forest, looking like something straight out of a Western cartoon. Guy even saw a black bear right behind the house, which, ironically, they feared more than anything else at first. The layout of the house itself was quite grand. The first floor was a recreational haven, complete with a poker table, a TV, a large sofa, and various games. The second floor housed a huge living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, and 2 bedrooms. The third floor had a large bathroom and 2 more bedrooms.
Guy, being the eldest, was given first pick of the rooms. She went up to the 3rd floor, but the main large room felt overwhelmingly big. Too big for 2 people, she said. Her friend Benjamin didn't like the other 3rd floor room either, preferring to sleep downstairs. So, Guy ended up in a room on the 2nd floor. The strange occurrences began almost immediately after they settled in. Around 10 p.m., a friend named Guang, feeling a bit uneasy about the vast windows, decided to close the plastic blinds. She was worried about bears looking in. Guy noticed Guang's behavior was odd. She was agitated and jumpy. Guang systematically closed each large window blind, but by the time she got to the 4th window, she abruptly stopped, leaving the 5th one open. She then walked to the table and sat down in silence. When pressed, Guang revealed the chilling reason. As she was closing the blinds, she saw eyes staring back at her. She initially thought it was a bear, but as she closed the 2nd, then the 3rd blind, those eyes seemed to get closer and closer. By the 4th window, she clearly saw a woman's face, a Caucasian woman with gray hair and deeply set eyes that appeared almost entirely black, with very little white visible. This was the exact moment she stopped and refused to close the last blind, too scared to continue, not wanting to frighten the others. The 2nd day, Guy's encounter and the abandoned house. The next day, They spent more time exploring the surroundings of the house. They discovered a treehouse a short distance away, nestled in dense woods. Guy and her friends also spotted a bear near it. Two of her friends, venturing closer to take photos, returned looking visibly shaken. They claimed the treehouse looked lived in, but found no stairs to access it. It was very old with burn marks, making it impossible to climb. Adjacent to the treehouse, they found another dwelling, which they concluded was an abandoned house. It had a small table and chairs in front, suggesting it was once a home, not just a storage shed. They wisely decided not to interfere with it. Later that day, Guy was doing dishes, looking out a large glass window in the kitchen. Suddenly, she saw someone looking in, just like Guang had described. For a split second, their eyes locked. Then, the figure vanished instantly. Despite her fear, Guy, driven by a strange curiosity, wanted to know who it was. She thought it was a person, so she opened the back door to see where they might have hidden them, but there was nowhere to conceal oneself. It was then that she saw something truly unsettling. Inside that small abandoned house, there was a flickering flame, like a candle. It wasn't an electric light. It was a visible flame. As it was around sunset, and they were more concerned about bears, Guy didn't dare go alone. She called for Benjamin, but by the time she looked back at the abandoned house, the flame was gone. Benjamin, fearing bears, advised against going. They decided to check the abandoned house the next morning. They did so and found it indeed was completely derelict, overgrown, and the key was rusted shut, confirming that no human could have been inside. Guy was now convinced that what she saw was not a person. The second night, the mystery of the rooms. The night before their departure, more strange things occurred. The producer, a friend good at photography, shared his experience. He was sharing the large third-floor room with Guang and couldn't sleep. Around 5 a.m., he heard footsteps on the second floor, assuming it was Guy or another friend Gao waking up early. When he went downstairs, no one was awake. Guy was still asleep in her room.
When he returned to his room, he saw Gao's distinctive hair on the top bunk bed. Gao is very tall and had explicitly stated she would never sleep on the top bunk because it was too much effort. But the producer insisted he saw her there. Gao vehemently denied it, stating that she was on the bottom bunk, completely covered by her blanket because she felt someone was on the top bunk. This left a chilling question: who was on the top bunk? Then, the producer mentioned that he could see someone on the top bunk because the bedroom door was wide open. Gao, however, insisted that she always closed her door at night. This led to another eerie realization. Everyone else confirmed that Gao never closed her door at night. So who was opening the door? Or perhaps, who was really in the room? In the other third-floor room, another friend had a terrifying experience. On the first night, despite the cool forest air, she felt intensely hot in the room and couldn't sleep. On the second night, she felt like she was experiencing sleep paralysis. She woke up, sat up, and looked around the room. Her eyes fell upon a small, locked room under the stairs, though there were no stairs leading to it. As she looked at it, she heard heavy stomping sounds coming from inside that locked room. Petrified, she jumped back into bed and covered herself. The stomping continued, now sounding like it was coming from above her. It couldn't have been branches falling on the roof, as the house had glass ceilings, allowing those on the upper floor to stargaze. The morning of departure, the final clues. On the morning they were to check out, they discovered yet another collective anomaly. All their personal belongings, car keys, phone chargers, drinking glasses, had been moved from where they had left them. At first, they thought one of them had simply misplaced or moved the items, but upon discussing it in the car, no one had touched anyone else's belongings. This realization solidified their growing unease. They all agreed that if they had stayed just one more night, we would surely have encountered something truly undeniable. As they drove out of the national park, still shaken by the unexplained events, they stopped at a gas station. There, they encountered a park ranger. Curiosity overriding their fear, they showed him a photo of the house and hesitantly shared their strange experiences. The ranger, a local, listened calmly. He admitted he didn't know the specific history of that house, but he did share a chilling piece of information. Over 30 years ago, the area where their cabin was located experienced a massive forest fire, one of the biggest in a century. This fire was so severe that it spread to homes and residential areas. Crucially, he explained that the warning and evacuation systems back then were not as advanced as they are today, and some residents were unable to evacuate in time, perishing in the blaze. The ranger then suggested that it was possible that spirits of those who perished in the fire might still be in that area or even within the house itself. This historical context provided a powerful, if terrifying explanation for all the strange occurrences they had experienced. It brought a sense of understanding to the inexplicable events. As a gesture of respect and compassion, Key and her friends later donated food at a local supermarket collection point, hoping to help any lingering spirits find peace. This experience serves as a stark reminder that even in the most breathtaking natural settings, sometimes beauty can hide a dark and tragic past. While Canada's national parks are stunning, especially Jasper National Park, and staying in these unique cabins offers a truly immersive experience, it's also important to remember that these remote locations within vast parks often mean you're largely on your own when it comes to unexpected events, whether from wildlife or something else entirely. This story highlights that sometimes the most terrifying encounters are not with the known dangers of the wild, but with the unseen inhabitants of a place with a forgotten tragic history. If you enjoyed this tale and want to hear more of my stories and insights into the supernatural, please press follow my YouTube P Stories. Thank you for listening, and I hope you'll join me again for another journey into the mysterious.